All right, welcome in to the Pro Hockey West Report. Scott Strande with you. You can see in Colorado, I've got the GM with me. I've got the man in charge of the Colorado Eagles, who, by the way, are on their way to the Pacific Division Finals. Ryan Bach, how are you, Ryan?
I'm doing well, thanks. Yourself?
I'm doing well. I saw your team play again in the playoffs, and I thought they were very impressive. I was worried a little bit because I wasn't in San Jose, and I thought if you guys sweep in San Jose and I'm only going to see you one time, it's really going to be a bummer before you moved on. But you guys did well. You got me 2 games, and you played solid in both of them and moved on. So let's start right there. What's it been like in the playoff run to this point?
Well, I think if you saw in that first round, it was a very physical series.
Yeah.
San Jose had a big team and a very good hockey club. And I thought, the way we had prepared with having that bye in the first round, we headed in and I think we got off to a good start, which was in that first game in San Jose. And then from there, I thought the team progressively got better as that series went on and ended up coming out on top.
So that's the team standpoint. Your fan base in Loveland is insane. One of the greatest environments in college, professional, NHL. I don't care where you go. It's such a great environment. But what were they like, starving for your attention basically for almost a month since they saw you play at home?
Yeah, no, I think it definitely had a little more energy going into that first game there, knowing that they hadn't seen their team play in a while. But there's certainly the best fans in professional hockey. As you can see, for a player to step on the ice in that environment just makes it that much more special. And it was no different in that first round. I mean, we had a loud building, and they were cheering on the team that was out on the ice battling each and every night, and they certainly did a great job to support the organization.
Are there any cowbells available anywhere in northern Colorado anymore?
Well, for the last 24 years, you can put quite a collection together from the cowbells, but that's a big part of the in-game energy.
And I know you
ringing the bells.
You mentioned it to me when we just came in the building here. You said, I saw you filming the Minute of Madness, and I love that. I absolutely think that's insane. I talk to other players that love it, visiting players that come in and go, yeah, we really like the excitement. How did that all get started?
Well, that got started quite some time ago, and it's really, grown not only with our current fan base, but the ones that have been around. It's the start of a third period, and if you're the opposition sitting on the bench and hearing the crowd for the first minute of the third period, which you don't see in most buildings, but it's a spectacle, and I know our home players love coming out to that third period start, and it's been a tradition will continue to carry on.
All right, if you can see on my shirt, I have a logo for the Pro Hockey West Report, which we do. I also have our College Hockey West, which is an NCAA brand that we do. 5 podcasts we do year-round. So we're deep into this. And when I looked at your roster and I said, 14, 15, I don't know. I lost count of the NCAA players that you have on this team. And not only that, Ryan, but the guys that are making an impact so early. Have you ever seen a group of college players over the last couple of years maybe that have come in and been able to step into this league? This is a tough league.
No, it is. And there's always that transition that you have to make from the college game into the professional game. But I think a lot of that now comes with, the development and what they're doing with these programs to get these players prepared. And I know, from an age standpoint, they used to come out a little earlier. Mm-hmm. Now I think they're spending more time in junior, so they're more mature once they get to the college level, and obviously with the training and development that they are part of, I think has just enhanced the overall player.
Yeah. So as a GM, when you're looking at these guys and you're making decisions on who's coming into your program or your organization, how important is the ability for these guys in college to get only 2 games a week and a lot of time in the weight room and a lot of time on the ice and skill development? How important is that as opposed to maybe a junior league where guys are playing 80 games a year?
Well, I think that's the big thing, is you have to find that balance. Mm-hmm. Because in college, you're obviously spending more time in the weight room and not as many games as you would see in major junior hockey. But that's where the Avalanche, I think, do a tremendous job on the development side. They're out at all these throughout the year watching all their prospects and knowing when is the right time for them to come out. So they usually have a very good gauge on that, and we've been fortunate to see some very talented players come through our locker room and organization here in the last couple of seasons.
So, as a proud CC alum, and you see a guy named Brian Yoon, local guy from the Denver area, 4-year, 5-year guy at CC, wore the letter. I've known Brian for a little while, not had a chance to visit with him several times. First of all, what a great person he is. But to come in and take over, I talked to Coach Schneekloff the other day, and he was telling me just how great he's been over the last 25 games. What are your thoughts on Brian Yoon?
Yeah, obviously with CC alum, he's a great kid. There's no question. But I think what we've seen from him coming in the game that he's brought, he's been an impactful player.
Yeah.
Right-handed defenseman. He's very agile. He's got a good shot. He's not the biggest, but he sees the ice very well. And I think, he's been a big part of our stretch, and then certainly here in the playoffs of having him in the lineup.
All right, so you bring in him. You also have a guy from Minnesota State who I cover a lot in my college bar, and Wyatt Ahmet. Wyatt's cut his teeth with you guys. He's built some experience. I see the smile on your face. You're happy with Wyatt's development?
Yeah, he's just the consummate, not only professional, but the leadership that he brings. I mean, he comes to prepared and competes every night, and I love the way he plays. He's got that physical bite to his game, and if you look how he's progressed, he's played his first NHL game this year. And, it took some time, but he's been one that's been working on his game, and if you look in the plus-minus department, he's in the top of the league. So he's certainly a very reliable part of our defense corps out there each and every night, and he's played such a big game here, especially in the playoffs. And I think it was game 3 where we were down to 5D, and he was out there every second shift. And the guy is, he competes at a whole nother level.
Okay, I want to go down the list. I could go down the list of about 100 players with you guys, but I want to go to your top line, because when I saw you guys and your roster last year this time, and I saw you add Jason Megna, I saw you add TJ Tynan, I saw you add Matthew Phillips. I'm going like, oh my goodness, that's a heck of a line. I saw them play together now, and I think maybe most of the year they've been playing together. How good is that threesome?
It is. And those are players that have played here in the past.
Yes.
And obviously wanted to come back for all the right reasons. So, the Avalanche management had looked at it, and there's an opportunity to bring in that core group of leadership. And then obviously players that are at the elite level in Megna, McDonald, and Tynan, and Phillips. The list goes on. But I think that really just solidified the depth within our organization by bringing those players back.
A lot of people ask me in the AHL, how it's a development league, right? But there's still an awful lot of pride in winning. And I know the Avalanche organization wants to see you guys be successful. I think that's important. If that's true, they want to see you be successful and develop. How hard is that as a guy that runs this program?
Yeah, again, I think they've done a fantastic job of putting that competitive group on the ice since day one here, since we became a part of the American Hockey League. And I think it's a big part. Everybody wants to win, but at the same time, like you just said, you have your prospects and players that are drafted that need time to play, and I think you got to find that balance.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they've been able to sign the core group of players, but also mix in the younger players that are here to develop. And I think the coaching staff, they do an excellent job in making sure that happens with the preparation and finding their game to get better each and every day.
As we film this, we're preparing for Abbotsford and the Pacific Division Finals. I went through the tail of the tape, so to speak, and the first thing I got to was GMs, Orion versus Orion. Does that matter?
Yeah, that's well. No, I know Ryan Johnson, RJ, he's done a good job, but Kevin McDonald also, he's the GM that makes a lot of the hockey decisions. But looking forward to it. We've had a good matchup against Abbotsford in the past. They're a very good hockey club, as are we. So looking forward to getting that series started here coming up on Friday.
I've talked to other coaches about this 5-game series thing, best of 5. And some coaches will say, yeah, we want to go play the first two on the road. We want the final three at home if it turns out that way. Is there a philosophy to that? And I believe, if I've got this correct, that the top seed gets to choose that?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the biggest thing, I think. And we've always kind of kept that in the mindset of, you always want the ability to if it's a game deciding in your series, you want to be able to finish at home. And obviously with our fan base, you certainly want to use that to your advantage, and our great crowd. And that's something that we've done since it's day one here. The 5-game series, you go to 2 and 3 format.
I'm also told that a lot of coaches prefer to start on the road because it's a team bonding experience, where less distractions. In this day and age, is there less distractions, or is it what it is?
I think the focus that you see in these athletes today and the players, I don't think the trend, distraction really plays a part in it. I mean, they're here to play, they want to win, and they prepare that, whether they're at home or on the road. Is there less distractions of some with the young kids and young babies that they have? Maybe a little more sleep, for that matter. But I think, like you said, there can be some team bonding that takes place by starting on the road, and I think that's one of the things going into Friday is getting in and getting prepared to win a hockey game.
All right, as we sit here at what we call this
NOCO Ice Center.
NOCO Ice Center.
Yes.
Okay, getting some practice in. But the big news around the AHL is that there's a new building coming your way, and I know how important that is for not only your team, but also for the youth in this northern Colorado area. So give us a little thumbnail on that. How's it going? Are we broken ground yet? Are we getting close?
There's been a lot of work that's been done to get it up to this point, and it's finally got through the approval process, which is an 8,600 seat new building for the Colorado Eagles, and then 3 additional ice sheets for the youth hockey.
Wow!
And for youth hockey, that's the biggest thing. It's a game changer. We've been, this is one of the ones here right now that we've had. There's a couple other ice sheets, but there's certainly a shortage of ice for our youth and that development. So this will be something that will change that, just allowing, the more levels of play, the girls hockey, the tournaments, everything that's a big part of the youth hockey. And then for us, well, we're in a building right now that we've outgrown it. And I think that's something for our fan base. They deserve to have that new world-class experience in the games, and it'll be a world-class facility, I can tell you that, with our owner Martin Lind and what he's got coming with there's a hotel water park, and there's a plaza, so there'll be all kinds of amenities, everything to do at one location. So I've spent a lot of time with my son traveling out to different tournaments, so I would have to say this would be a destination that a lot of teams from out west and out east would want to come and just be a part of the experience and where it's going to be located.
We started on my NCAA side, we'll end it on my NCAA side. How is that going to help, or is it going to help? Maybe bring in regionals. I know, Blue Arena hosts regionals occasionally, but is that going to help in the college development?
There's no question we've got the attention of USA Hockey, and they would like to try and formulate some type of, international competitions.
Yeah, that's what I was
with
thinking.
A facility like that with the 8,600 seats, and then one of the additional ice sheets will have 1,500 seating capacity.
Okay.
So you're able to, work something of that nature, whether it's a world, women's championships or U18s, all that I think will come into play. And then for college, we have the DU and Magnus and Robson down at CC, so you never know. Someday,
who knows,
never
right?
say never, you could see another program come through.
People always ask me that. They go, how does the private schools in CC and Denver have NCAA teams, but the state schools don't? Is it time to get some of these state schools, like Colorado State or Colorado, to jump, become an NCAA team?
Yeah, and I think that it all comes down to, obviously, with the alumni and the financial side of it, to get a program going, as you see, like ASU is, for example.
And your daughter's there, right?
Yeah, she is. Yep, she'll be a senior next year, so I've been able to get into that building, but how that all came to fruition was quite a story as well, with the club hockey, and CSU has the club hockey part of it. So there could be, some in the foreseeable future, an
All good
opportunity
news.
there to take it to another level.
Ryan, thanks for spending some time with us. Appreciate it. Best of luck in this series, and we'll see you in the Western Conference Finals.
All right. Thank you very much. Yep. Looking
I have
forward
confidence.
to it getting started. All right.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, thanks again.